Hi, everyone. We're giving it a few minutes for everybody to log in, and then we're going to start. In the meantime, while we wait, if you would like to introduce yourself on the chat, say from which hotel you're from, that would be nice. We can get started. Just maybe one more minute. All right, let's get started. So again, thank you so much for taking the time, for being here and taking this session. Before introducing the session, we'd like to go ahead and introduce ourselves.
Hi, my name is Alicia. I've been at Tablet since 2010 in various roles. The one that I've had the longest and that I still currently hold is distribution manager. I work with our hotel partners in Italy, Spain, and Malta, and I am based in New York City.
Thank you, Alicia. And some of you know me. My name is Paulo Grillo. I've been with Tablet and the Michelin Guide for 13 years. I am based in Miami, and I oversee our partnerships in Florida, Latin America, and Greece. So without further ado, as many of you know, this is our third annual travel week. And as you know as well, this year we're bringing lots of new content. Today's session, we're going to dive into the tablet and the Michelin Guide Extranet and provide tutorials for topics that are part of daily conversations with hotels. So what are we going to learn today? We're going to get information on how to create and edit rate plans, including tips for rate plans to be mapped, and also promotions to be created as linked rates. We're going to show you also how to view your rates, availability and inventory, and how to create and see rate restrictions. We're going to learn how to create and edit deposit and cancellation policies, and also how to add policies for specific dates. We're going to learn how to create and edit room types. And last but not least, we're going to show you how to access booking reports and also get instructions on how to retrieve bookings in the extranet.
We do have a packed session today, and we want to be able to answer all of your questions. So we reserved 10 to 15 minutes at the end of the session for a Q&A. You're welcome to share your questions in the chat box at any time, and we will address them all during the Q&A at the end. We also will provide you with a comprehensive document that includes all the tutorials presented in this session via email. And the session is being recorded and will be available for replay as well. Lastly, we would recommend setting your Zoom window to full screen during the tutorials, just for the best quality experience. So let's get started. This tutorial will cover how to create and edit room types in the Michelin Guide and Tablet Hotels Extranet. From the main page, you can go to the Property Setup drop-down tab and scroll down to Create and Edit Room Types, or you can click on Create a Room Type or Update Room Type Descriptions from this menu here. Both links will take you to the same page, which is this main rooms page. So to create a new room, just click on Create New Room Type. And then on this next page, you'll add all of your room information. So room name, occupancy settings, room size, bedding configuration, view, and any room features that should be listed. There is a free text box at the bottom. However, we are not currently publishing that information on the live site, so you don't need to fill anything out there for now. And then click on Create. And you can see your new room right at the top of the page. This code is the code you will give to your channel manager for mapping. And to get photos added, you will send those to coordinators@tabletHotels.com, and our creative team will load those photos for you. If you need to make edits, just click on Edit, change whatever you need to change on this next page, and click on Update. And there you can see the edit I just made. And you can also delete rooms. The delete button does appear grayed out, but it works. Just click on delete and then delete again, and the room will get removed. One thing to note, if you are using Synexus Channel Connect, you will actually need to create any new rooms in their system first and then have those assigned to tabletHotels.com and then ask Synexus to add a channel code for the new tablet room type. Synexus will then send that channel code out to us. We'll create the new room in our system and add the code. And then we will reach out to the hotelier to ask you to fill in all of the room information. As always, if you have any questions, just reach out to distribution@tabletHotels.com. Thank you. This tutorial will cover creating and editing rate types in the Michelin Guide and Tablet Hotels Extranet. From this home page, you can go to the Property Setup drop-down tab and click on Create and Edit Rate Types, or you can click on Create a Promo Rate or Update Rate Type Policies from this menu here. Both links will take you to this main rate types page. Once you're on this page, there are two different types of rates you can set up. The first one I'm going to go over is an unlinked rate plan. That is a rate plan that you will want to map and manage directly in your channel manager. So in order to set that up, you'll click on Create New Rate Type, enter your rate information on this page. So rate name, meal plan information, any other inclusions. Over here where it asks, is this rate linked? Just make sure you choose no. Linked rates cannot be mapped in your channel manager. So if you want to map this rate in your channel manager, choose no. You'll then enter your deposit and cancellation policy information here. We will go over that in more detail in a separate tutorial. And then at the bottom of the page, you can see this question, is your no-show policy different than your cancellation policy? So if your rate has a late cancellation penalty of, for example, one night or 50%, but your no-show policy has a penalty of 100%, then you will choose yes here. And you can see this sentence pops up that says, no-shows will be charged the total cost of the reservation. If your penalty for late cancellation and no-shows is 100% either way, then you can just choose no and then click on Create. And back on the main rate types page, you can see the new rate you've just created. This code is the code that you will map in your channel manager, and they will then send rates, inventory, and availability out to our system. So the second type of rate you can create is a linked rate. That is usually for a promo rate that might have a discount and is only available for a limited time. It's a rate that you would manage directly in the tablet extranet and not in your channel manager. So for that, you also click on Create New Rate Type. You do all of the same information entry on this page that you would do for the unlinked rate. The only difference is that over here where it says, is this rate linked, you'll choose yes. And then you will choose from one of your pre-existing rate plans that's already been mapped through your channel manager to link it from. I'm going to enter a 10% discount. And what's going to happen is this linked rate will pull all of the same availability and inventory from the parent rate, the free cancel rate in this case. And then the rates will just have this 10% discount. So you don't have to enter a discount. It just depends what type of rate you're setting up there. And then you will want to choose your stay dates. So for this one, I'm just going to put in December 1st, 2024 until January 31st, 2025. Those are the dates that clients can stay for this promo rate. Choose your meal plan, any inclusions, your deposit and cancellation policy, and then choose yes or no for your no-show policy and click on create. And there you can see the linked rate that I've set up. You can see it's linked to the free cancel rate, you can see the 10% discount, and you can see the stay dates. If you want to have a booking period that is different from the stay period, you will need to ask your distribution manager or business development manager to set that for you. Only super users can add booking windows. So, for example, if you wanted to only have this be bookable from December 1st until December 15th for stays from December 1st until January 31st, then you will need to ask us to set that for you. You can also make any edits to your rate types from this page. So just click on edit and then make any changes you need on this page and click on update. And there you can see the free Wi-Fi inclusion is now removed. You can also delete rates from this page. The delete button appears grayed out, but it does work. So just click on delete and then delete again. And then you can see that that rate is gone. For linked rates, you can set restrictions like minimum length of stay, lead time. On the manage restrictions managed by date range page, we will also go over that in a separate tutorial. The last thing to mention is that if you are using Synexus and you want to set up a new rate for tablet and manage it in Synexus, then you will need to set it up in Synexus first, assign it to tablet hotels there, and then ask Synexus to add a channel code for the new tablet rate code. Synexus will then send that code out to our system. We will create a new rate type on this page and map the code to that new rate type. We will probably need to reach out to the hotelier to find out what the rate name should be, any inclusions, meal plan, deposit cancellation policy, that type of information. If you know that we've already received a new rate code and you want to add that information yourself, you can log in, come to this page, find the new rate here, click on edit, and add that information. As always, if you have any questions, just reach out to distribution@tablethotels.com. Thank you.
We're gonna pause for a second. It looks like the sound is not coming through, so we're gonna fix that. Just give us one moment and thank you. Thank you for your patience. Just give us one moment.
Anytime you create a new rate, you will be asked to set up the deposit and cancellation policy information. This tutorial will cover creating and editing deposit and cancellation policies in the Michelin Guide and Tablet Hotels Extranet. Just to note, we do not receive deposit and cancellation policy information. from any channel manager, from Synexis, from your PMS, from Disco, or from any outside source. All deposit and cancellation policy information that appears on the live Michelin Guide and Talbot Hotels websites comes directly from the extranet. So you will need to manage that here. This can be done on the Create and Edit Rate Types page found beneath the Property Setup drop-down tab. Anytime you create a new rate, you will be asked to set up the deposit and cancellation policy information for that rate plan on this setup page here. And you have a few different options. If you require a deposit of any sort, any number of days before arrival or at time of booking, then you would click on yes. If you don't require any deposit before arrival, then you would click on no. And if you click on no, you can see that these two sentences automatically populate that say, a valid credit card is required to confirm this reservation. Payment for your stay will be charged by the hotel at check-in or out. You also have the option to use a deposit policy that you have in place on another pre-existing rate plan. So if you click on that, you will see a number of policies come up that you will have already used on other rate plans, and you can choose from one of those. I'm just going to stick with the no deposit required at this time option for now. For cancellation policy, it's similar. If you have any time period when it's free to cancel before arrival, then you would choose yes. If you always charge some sort of penalty or fee, no matter when they cancel, then you would click no. And then you also have the option to use any saved policies that you've already added for other rate plans in the past. And if you have free cancellation, you can see you have a few different options for the types of policies you can enter. You can choose a policy that charges a first night as a penalty or a percentage as a penalty, or you can use a tiered policy where you charge different penalties depending on how many days before arrival somebody is canceling. So if they are canceling 7 days before arrival and you charge 50%, but then they cancel 3 days before arrival, you charge 100%. That's what you would want to use. And for not free cancellation, we have basically completely not cancelable at the top, and then a few other options for different penalties being charged for different amounts of time before arrival. In this case, I'm just going to choose yes, and I'm going to go with noon, 3 days before arrival, and 1 night penalty. We also have this question at the bottom asking if your no-show policy is different than your cancellation policy. So if you have a penalty of 1 night for your late cancellation, but you charge 100% for no-shows, then you would click yes. If your policy is 1 night no matter what, then you would choose no. Same thing if your policy is 100%, no matter whether they're canceling within the late period or whether they are just complete no-show, then you would choose no because you don't have a different policy for no-shows than for late cancellations. And then click on Create. And there you can see the new rate plan with the deposit and cancellation policy that we set up on the previous page. If you have time periods where you need to add a more restrictive policy or just a different policy, so for example, if you're in Milan and it's the furniture fair, or if you have different policies for high season versus low season, then you would want to click on add a different policy for a date range. And on that page, you would choose the dates when you want the policy to apply. Let's just say February 5th through February 8th, for example. Make sure your meal plan matches the meal plan that you already have in place on the rate plan you're working on. And then you can, again, either choose from a pre-existing policy that you've already got in place for both deposit and cancellation, or you can set up something new. I'm going to choose some pre-existing ones here just to make life a little bit easier. And then click on Create. And there you can see this policy that I just chose for these specific dates. If you have other rate plans that already have a policy override and you want to duplicate that for other dates or for other rate plans, you would just click on duplicate. And then you will see this page where you can either choose a different rate to apply it to, or you can set up several other date ranges when you want the same policy to apply. In this case, I'm just going to duplicate the same policy for the same dates for this other rate plan, the new test rate plan. And in that case, I'm going to uncheck the free cancel rate, or I'm pulling this policy override from to begin with. So December 15th through January 5th on the test rate, and then click on update. And if you're not using those, click on X. Okay. And then you can see this policy that's listed here for these dates is now listed here for the same dates on this other rate plan. If you ever need to make edits to the standard policy or the overrides, you would just come back to this page and click on edit. And you can either edit the standard policy or you can click on edit for the overrides and make edits on the next page. So that is basically it for deposit and cancellation policy setup. As always, if you have any questions, you can reach out to distribution@tablethotels.com. Thank you. This tutorial will cover manually adding restrictions to linked rates in the Michelin Guide and Tablet Hotels Extranet. A few things to note before we start. If you have mapped a rate plan through your channel manager, then generally you don't need to also manually add any restrictions in the extranet for it. There are two exceptions to this: close to departure and lead time. So for close to departure, we do not support that through any channel manager. So if you need to set that, you will have to reach out to distribution@tablethotels.com and ask us to set that for you. For lead time, if you use Synexus Channel Connect, we do receive your minimum and maximum lead time restrictions. However, if you're using any other channel manager, lead time does not get sent through to us. So you would need to manually add that for any advance or last minute rate plans, as I'm about to show you. So in general, you will only need to set restrictions on linked rates. So I've gone ahead and set up a test linked rate here in the Tablet Extranet. As you can see, it is linked to the free cancel rate. It has a 10% discount, and it's for stay dates from December 1st, 2024 until March 31st, 2025. This linked rate will have pulled the same availability and inventory and rates from the free cancel rate, but it will have this 10% discount on the rates. Any other restrictions set on the free cancel rate, such as minimum length of stay or lead time, it will not have pulled those from that. So you would have to set those manually. Also, if you just want to have a different minimum length of stay or a different lead time set on a linked rate, you would need to set those manually. So the way to do that is to go to the Rates and Inventory drop-down tab, go down to Manage Restrictions and Manage by Date Range. And that will take you to this Manage Restrictions page. And you can see on this table here, there are several different types of restrictions you can apply. So open and close to arrival, minimum and maximum length of stay, and advance purchase or last minute restrictions. There are a couple of restrictions down at the bottom of this length of stay column. Pay for blank nights and get blank extra nights free and apply discount percent. You don't need to use those yourself. If you want to do something with either of those, I would recommend reaching out to us and asking us to work with you on that. So I'm going to go ahead and set some restrictions on the linked rate, the test linked rate. So up at the top of the table, I'll choose that rate plan. I'll choose my room types. You can either choose all rooms or you can do one room at a time. I'm going to choose all rooms. And then for the date range, I'm going to choose the entire date range that I set. So December 1st until March 31st. And I'm going to make sure it applies to every single day of the week. And I'll set a 3-night minimum length of stay here and a 14-day advance lead time here, and then click on update. Then you get this confirmation message at the top of the page when it's done, and you can scroll down to the bottom of the page, choose a month on when these restrictions should apply, and the rate plan. And then you can see, if you hover your mouse over any date, you can see the restrictions that are in place. So A, days in advance, 14, and M, minimum night stay through 3. And it's for every day in December, January, February, and March. Now let's say I want to remove those restrictions for Sunday through Thursday, but leave them in place on Friday and Saturday. Go back up here, make sure we still have the same room and rate type selected and the same date range we want this to apply. And then I'm going to choose remove minimum stay through, remove days in advance. And since I want to leave them in place on Friday and Saturday and remove them for every other day, I'm just going to go ahead and uncheck Friday and Saturday here and then click on update. I've got my confirmation message. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of the page, and you can now see that the restrictions are only in place on Fridays and Saturdays. So that is how you manually add restrictions. As always, if you have any questions, just reach out to distribution@tablethotels.com. Thank you. This tutorial will cover how to view the rates and inventory that are loaded for your property in the Michelin Guide and Tablet Hotels Extranet. So from this main homepage, you can just go to the Rates and Inventory drop-down tab and click on View Rates and Inventory. That takes you to this next page where you can then choose whichever month you want to check. I'm going to choose January 2025. And then you'll choose the rate type you want to see. You can either view all of your rates or you can just choose to view one rate at a time. I'm going to view all. And then as you can see, the page populates. This rate at the top, the free cancel rate, it's not linked to anything in our system. So that means that all the rates and inventory you see here are coming from your channel manager. This rate down here is a linked rate. As you can see, it says 10% off the free cancel rate, only for this specific date range. And it has the discounted rates from this rate above. So if you set up a promo rate with a discount and you want to make sure the discount is correctly applied, this is where you can do that. Another thing to note is all of these dates have a box around the rate, which means there's a restriction applied. If you see that and you want to check to see what restrictions are in place, you can just click on the date. Takes you to this Manage Restrictions page. You can go down to the bottom of the page and choose the month you want to check and the rate you want to check. And then hover your mouse over whichever date you're looking at. And you can see for every date in this month in this rate plan, there's a maximum night stay applied of 31 nights. As always, if you have any questions, just reach out to distribution@tablethotels.com. Thank you. This tutorial will cover how to manually retrieve bookings from the Michelin Guide and Tablet Hotels Extranet. So for most channel managers, you will not need to manually retrieve bookings. However, if you do not have reservation delivery set up with your channel manager, if we make a manual booking, or if you receive an email from us advising you that you need to retrieve a booking from our system, then you will need to log in and go to the Booking Reports tab at the top of this homepage and just click on it. And it takes you to this page. From here, you can choose to search by booking date, arrival date, or departure date, and then set up a date range. I'm going to check by arrival date, and I'm going to choose November 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2024, and then click on View Report. And as you can see, all of your bookings will populate below. This is paginated, so you might have to click on to the next page if you don't see the booking you're looking for on page 1. If you need to manually retrieve the booking, it should have this red box here that says retrieve. You would click on that, and then you would see this booking information pop up. Booking details, customer information and billing information, and room and rate information. If you need to retrieve the credit card number for a booking, you must retrieve it within 48 hours of the booking being created. After that point, if you have not retrieved the credit card information, you will have to reach out to customer service at tablethotels.com and we will provide that information for you. As always, if you have any questions, just reach out to distribution@tablethotels.com. Thank you. Okay,
Thank
so
you.
yes, thank you. The only question we had so far was whether this was being recorded. Yes, it is being recorded. So if there's any other questions, please go ahead and submit them. I guess we'll give it a couple minutes on that and that's it.
Yeah. I think this is a good time, if you're in the audience and you're a hotelier and there's anything that you ever wanted to do with the extranet, but you didn't know how, this is a good time to ask. Um, so please feel free to use the chat. I also wanted to mention that because we are streaming this through Zoom, the video loses a bit of quality. So I want to make sure to let everybody know that in the manual, the document that we'll share with all the videos, the quality will be much better. So if there was anything that you couldn't actually see on the video, you'll be able to see it properly and well once we share the document with you. So everybody will get all these videos, so you'll be able to actually watch it, whenever you need as well. I think that there was a lot of information provided today, and so because of that, sometimes you wouldn't know what your question is yet, but now you're more encouraged to start using the extranet and try to using it, and by then you're probably going to have questions as well. But if you came in thinking of something and having a question, now is the time. um,
Nothing yet. So
yeah. Well, it's okay. We will be expecting questions, or we will be expecting conversations about all these functions and skills that the extranet provides. And so I do want to thank everybody that took the time to be here. I really, really appreciate it. Also, I appreciate the patience with a little bit of the technical difficulties that we have. There were tons of great information provided today. And as I mentioned, I want you to be able to see that all this information in a daily basis, very organized in a document. So we're sharing that with you at the end of the presentation, probably tomorrow. Also, the session will be available for replay in the Travel Week homepage. So this is the end of this session, but it's not the end of travel week yet. So there's plenty of other sessions that you can attend. Upcoming sessions are how to optimize your partnership with us. We're going to have a session talking about our Plus program, our keynote on travel trends. We have a panel tomorrow about the Michelin keys, another session on our selection process. There's lots of content that we're sharing. So if not, just go back to the homepage and subscribe to that. And again, thank you very much to everybody to be here.
Yes, thank you.
Right. Bye.
Bye.